Welcome to the Your Leadership Legacy podcast. My name is Tina Paulus Krause, and I'm so excited to bring you this next podcast dedicated to you high performers out there who want to reinvent yourself, reinvent your business, maybe your career, all of it. This podcast is all about being dedicated to transformation and being the best possible leader of yourself and others that you can be in order to create a legacy that lives on. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus Krause. I am the founder and CEO of True You Teams. And here we go. All right. Welcome, everyone, to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus Krause, and I have somebody who is super special to me on the call today, Candice Johnson. Hey, Candice.
Hi.
How beautiful are you? I love that you are here. Thank you so much for being here. I want you to introduce yourself and tell people a little bit about who you are and your background. And then I want to get into some of your credentials and where we're going with this interview after that. Sound good?
Sounds awesome.
Yay. So who is Candice Johnson and what unique contribution does Candice bring to the world? I know there are many.
Well, right now I am in between the next stages of one career to the next. So it's a very happy, but also uncomfortable place that I'm excited to play in as I am letting everything that I've cultivated the last 20 years of my career and seeing where that takes me, where I go to next. Where I came from was an 11-year nursing career. So I was trained by Penn State University as a nurse. And then right afterwards, I went into 5 years of bone marrow transplant, leukemia, and solid tumor treatment inside of the hospital as a BSN at the Penn State Cancer Institute in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And then I moved into outpatient cancer treatment infusion and then worked specifically in hospice for a number of years, moved into upper level management, became a clinical education director because, as you'll probably learn from this podcast, I love teaching and advocating, especially
And you're very good at it.
Thank you. I receive. And about all things alternative when it comes to cancer treatment and hospice care. And over the last 4 years, which is where I met your beautiful podcast host, Tina Paulus Krause, in a transformational space. So I have been working with female entrepreneurs, coaching them in integrating leadership development tools as well as nervous system regulation. So that's a little bit about my journey and where I've been.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, in getting to know you over the last few years, I knew about your background. I knew that you had this amazing medical background and all of that. And a couple of weeks ago, and maybe it wasn't even a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I'm scrolling through Facebook, and there you are talking about cancer and about all the stuff. And as you know, my dad has cancer. Right now, he recovered from prostate cancer last year, and this year, or actually 2 years ago, and then last year, working through bladder cancer. And it's new. Like, I think when a family goes through that, it's new, and there's so many questions, and you don't have the answers and don't know the answers. And so for the last year, we kind of fumbled around with it. And then I saw your video talking about alternative ways and second opinions and all the kind of stuff. And so here's why I am so excited to have you on the show, because I think that there is this programming out there. And you'll probably say it way more eloquently than I ever will. But there's this programming out there that I think a lot of people really buy into, that like the medical profession has all the answers and what they say goes, and there's only one way. and it's been an interesting journey for me over the last year, navigating that and trusting gut feeling and all that kind of stuff. So if you could just give us a little bit of a synopsis of what it was you were talking about on that Facebook video and why you're so passionate about this topic, I think that would really support.
Absolutely. Thank you for this question. Thank you so much for this opportunity too. It's been a passion place of mine that keeps building fire and fire. So thank you for this space. And I want to take a step back and share with everyone in the audience how the medical system traditionally works and how the medical system works as a doctor and nurses, for me also, we are programmed and set with a particular kind of tool, emergent care, treating symptoms a certain way, treating the body a certain way. And it's because of that frame of reference. And you probably can't see the video right now, but I'm making a box. There is a particular literature with which we are all given. And outside of that, because we don't know what exists out there, there's fear. And
Mm.
so when a physician gives a medical treatment or a nurse facilitates the medical treatment, what exists is because this is all we've ever known. This is all we can educate. Because this is all we've known and this is all we can educate, there's fear of the unknown. If you've been following Tina for a long enough time, I know you all are leaders, you're talking about personal development. What is happening in the unknown? There's that
Yeah,
false evidence appearing real. And so
absolutely.
how the medical system is currently operating mostly, but we're moving out of it, is that if these particular rubrics and strategies and tools are not followed, something bad will happen. If your father does not follow chemotherapy, radiation plan, something bad will happen, because in the frame of reference with which we're taught, that is absolutely true.
Yeah.
And over my course of being a nurse and the experiences that I could not unsee within the medical industry, where I trusted my gut about certain things and was reprimanded for it, and saw over and over again when my gut said, this is not right, something different, and then watching the result. I mean, and the result that I'm talking about is death, by the way,
Yeah.
as a result of chemotherapy induced symptoms that never would have had to happen if we were trusting our guts and treating the patient in a holistic manner. And by holistic, I don't mean woo woo. I'm saying from a space of, okay, here is what's occurring. Here are the symptoms. Here are a set of treatments. Now let's look at what else is possible. Again, if you've been around Tina, I know you're also thinking, okay, here's what I know. Here's some fear, but what else is possible? Same rules apply. And once I saw what I could not unsee, I eventually got to a point where I left my nursing career because I put blinders on, y'all. I put these blinders on that there's no way I could advocate for the patients I wanted to advocate like your dad. I couldn't ask the families questions that I wanted to ask that were inside of me because there's too much red tape. That's stepping outside of the pharmaceutical industry. It's stepping outside of the business of healthcare, because business in America, healthcare in America is a business. I want you all to hear that. It is a business. It is not a healthcare system. It is a business. You can look at the tax reports to prove me accurate. We're making a shift now. I wanted to be able to ask those questions to my family, to my patients, and be able to advocate in a certain way. So I hope that I think that answers your question.
Yeah.
It really just goes back to, I couldn't unsee what I saw from the length of time I spent in the medical industry.
Yeah, and here's what's crazy, because it's an education. I mean, as a family member going through it, and I was caretaking for my dad, and so I was with him when he was, having the checkups and the procedures and all that kind of stuff. And so as I went through that process, I'm in the background doing research online, like what is bladder cancer, what is prostate cancer, what are, like really starting to understand it. And what I was researching was different from what we were getting when we would go in and have those conversations. And I think there's a gap there, because I was like, my gut tells me that you don't need this. Like, my gut tells me that this isn't the right way to go. And so what would you say to that? Like, where do families go in that situation? I now know, I don't know why I didn't think of calling you. I didn't until it was too late when I saw that Facebook thing, but like, where do families go when their gut feeling starts being different than what they're hearing from their medical providers?
It's a great question. So what I want to start that question with is actually before the question is, you found that research because you trusted your gut and you were open to seeing another possibility. That is the only way the other possibilities were attracted to you. So when you researched them, of course you saw them because you were open to seeing them and you trusted your gut. For a lot of families and a lot of patients, that openness is capped off by the fear. So really, it's going to start with education like this, knowing that there are alternatives out there. So if I started at all at the very, very top, it's specifically the knowledge, knowing that there are proven alternatives out there for cancer treatment and for palliative and hospice care. There are absolutely valuable alternatives available. I just want to say that very clearly and enunciate again. There are valuable, viable alternative options available. So starting with that knowledge, first and foremost, because if you believe in that, then where do we go?
Yeah.
Then
Yeah. And
where can I go?
it's a little bit of an uphill battle. I'm not going to lie, because I would like research this stuff and then I'd go and have a conversation, and a lot of the times the patient, because they're so in it, the patient is like, well, the doctor said this. Well, the doctor said, well, the doctor said, well, the doctor said. So as a family member, when my gut's telling me one thing and the doctor's still saying, or I mean, I'm sorry, and the patient's still saying, well, the doctor said, well, the doctor said, what kind of tools out there would you suggest for the family members to really go that extra step?
Right away, I'm going to talk about advocacies, because when you're having this type of care, it will be vital. I am actually going to use that word. It will be vital for a family and a patient to have what's called an advocate. And what an advocate is going to serve as is they are going to listen to all of your wishes, all of the ideas for medical care, all of the concerns, all of the visions, all of the hopes, the wants, the things like that, and then be able to decipher and communicate with the physician what you are willing to go through, what you are not willing to go through. Now, quick, Candice, where do I find such an advocate? What would that even look like? Where does that happen?
That
So
was my next question.
Yes. So I want, so in every single hospital, there are called clinical liaisons and patient advocates. But what I want you to also hear is they are also trained with the same frame of reference that the physicians and the doctor, or the physicians and the nurses are trained with. They're trained in that box that I was simulating for you earlier. So great, Candice, where do I find a holistic advocate? A great place to start is going to be, and even if you're in cancer treatment, we're not talking about end of life care, but I want you to consider this is a great place to start. Looking on a website, looking on your state's website for what's called a death doula. And I, by all means, do not mean that I am planning for your family member, maybe even a young family member, 15, 16, 3 years old that has cancer. This is a great place to start because your doulas, your state, not certified, some are certified, but your state recognized doula systems are going to be able to see holistic opportunities with your physician. And again, I'm not talking specifically about death. They will have the tools and the resources like myself. I am also a death doula. So we have the tools and the resources that can connect you with the right people. If that word right now is uncomfortable for you because of where you're at with your family member, I totally understand. It's okay. Maybe not a great place to start. Looking at a naturopath. Yes, I am aware that naturopaths are not insurance covered. Some are starting to be there, but when you have some type of natural medical support in your area, I'm going to list those. I'm going to list where you can find these people. Okay.
Please.
So some naturopathic place in your community to go, they can help you listen for the things you need to listen, advocate for the things that, and help you at the end of the day decipher what the doctor is saying, matched with your wishes and your visions, and come up with a plan. Okay, who are these people? Who are these people? Naturopathic doctors, NDs, naturopathic doctor. Okay. They are medically trained as well as naturopathic trained. Okay.
Amazing.
Second place you can look, a DO in your medical system. DO means a doctor of osteopathic medicine, also medically trained, also trained in alternatives. You can go talk to them about your emotional care. You can go talk to them about supplements you want to try, alternatives. Okay. Next place, if you would prefer to step outside of the medical system altogether, chiropractors. Chiropractors are great places to go because your chiropractor is going to look at your holistic care. If you are not currently seeing a chiropractor, ask your community, looking into your community, finding people like that. There are people like me that exist out there who do concierge services like this, where we'll do consults with your family members, consults with you, break that down. And if we need to, we set up more meetings to carry you through that process, to carry you through that journey. Or if anything, just give you a set of tools and next steps that are going to be supportive for you. Because what I also know about the physicians and staying in the medical system is, Tina, and you and I talked about this, is there is an entire set of emotional needs that are going through patients, family members. And I keep saying patients and family members because this is a cancer, and the dying process is a holistic experience. It's not just the patients, the family members. So there are emotional needs and requirements that people like myself that are trained as doulas, as advocates, to provide the specific questions that are going to support you in understanding what the needs are so that we can then advocate you to other people in the community that can support the care.
Right. It's amazing. And I didn't realize that even existed, because here's what happens. Doctor says, we're going to remove the bladder, or we're going to go full blown chemo. And we're like, whoa, wait. Okay, well, go get a second opinion. Gives us the person to go get a second opinion with. We go get a second opinion. The doctor's like, what is happening? You are fine. Go back to the original doctor. Doesn't take what the second opinion said. So now we're a family trying to figure out, like, well, two different doctors are saying two different things. So I would see, like, that's when somebody also can call you, because you're completely, what's the word I'm looking for? You're completely neutral on it, right? Your role is to support me as the patient, not to support the medical system.
Yes. Irregardless of what could or could not happen, because that's going to come up, the false evidence appearing real, what could or could not happen is going to come up. Yes. So where I stand is specifically in the needs, desires, and wants of the patient and family, and be able to, if needed, communicate with the physician.
Yeah, it's beautiful. When you talk about death doula, because I didn't know there was such a thing, and I'm so fascinated by this death doula process, because it is a process. Talk to us about the actual dying process. So not so much, I mean, my dad's fine, and we're good. But what if there's a family out there that is going through this, and we're a lot further in, on the journey of cancer, and they're more close to that death? Like, why would a family call you in that regard?
So with a death doula, we actually can step in the planning of end of life care. So you do not, I mean, I've worked with patients. I'm actually in a support group right now where I'm supporting people that are just planning their next plans. They don't anticipate passing away in the next 10, 15, 20 years, some of them, but they also know that they have assets, they have grandchildren now. So they're in that planning. What would that look like? How do I start talking about death with my family? How do I start talking to my spouse about my needs, my wants, my desires when it comes to my medical care? So that's when a death doula at first step is a great place to come in, provide a little consult, and then just have maybe steps throughout the year, couple meetings. Hey, has anything changed? Again, asking the right questions to see if there's any changes, any needs emotionally, physically, spiritually, with with not just you, I work with families as well. So there's times where we'll be on a Zoom call and I'm talking to families also. What we're trained in nursing is when you walk into a room, a patient's room, and there's a patient and 5 other family members, your patient count just went up to 6, because there's 6 human beings in that room that get to be cared for, educated, and provided for. So that's where I'll start with why a death doula is important, even if you're just forming, because we can support you in making sure that you're filling out the right forms, that the right documents are available. And some of us, now there are different kinds of death doulas. I won't get into that specifically right here, but working specifically with a doula like myself, we're going to work on the emotional needs of the patient and family members. So where I would also step in to further answer your question, why would you call a death doula when someone is actively moving into palliative care? Palliative care is when we're like, we're not going to seek any more medical treatments. We're just going to ride this thing out, see where it goes. We step in, death doulas will step in and provide even closer connection to you. So giving you alternatives for pain treatment, alternatives for any depression care, anxiety, pain. I already said pain, but I'm going to stress pain again because it's going to come up. Any other medical treatments that may come up, okay? And then working with the family members on how is this affecting you? Is there anything from the past that you're resentful for that you'd like to talk to your family member about? Family member, are there any repressed emotions that you have not worked out? Because all of this, when handled prior to moving into the dying stage, is going to make that process even more, and I'm going to use this term specifically, beautiful for your family and for your patient, because you're going to have less pain, less stress, less emotional triggers, and your family will have the tools to communicate about the dying process, and you're going to be prepared about the medical treatments that are available, both traditional and alternative, that are going to be available for you. It will ease the process before we even get into the active dying process.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful service. And that's why I wanted to have you on the podcast, because I don't think a lot of people know that death doulas exist. I don't think a lot of people know that this kind of support exists outside of those 4 walls. and it's not that I want to say, in case anybody's out there, I'm not trashing the medical profession or the medical system at all. I'm just saying that there's this whole holistic realm out there where we get to combine it and we get to make sure that we're taking care of the patient in the best and healthiest way. And so I don't know if I said that, if you have a better way to say that, great. But like, it's about both. It's about how do we take care of it? And I love that you mentioned emotional needs several times through this, because when do we ever even pay attention to those? You know what I mean? And so having an intention that no, we're going to bring in somebody that can really support the family with the emotional needs as we go through this is super powerful.
Yes. I think you said it beautifully, and I'll even take it a step further. I'm a visual person, so I'm sure someone in your audience is going to appreciate a visual. Yeah. Yeah. So if you holistic means we're looking at all of the variables that make up someone's spirit, life, themselves. And so if you put your hand out in front of you and you can see all 5 fingers right in front of your face, okay? If you're looking at the holistic needs of a person, you're looking at physical health, and you can count off on your fingers with me: physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, sexual health, financial health. Okay. Now, physicians are trained in one of those. Now tuck that finger away, whichever finger you decide to tuck away, pinky, thumb, wherever. You tuck away a finger. Now look at what's left. There are 4 other arenas that are missing, that aren't being accounted for in the medical treatment. So when you're looking at a holistic view, you're like, once you see that finger in front of you, once you see that, you're like, oh my gosh, there's more to me. There's more to my family than just the fear of medical treatments not working, cutting things out of my body. Wait, and then you're like, oh, wait, my spiritual system says we don't want to cut anything out of our body. We don't want these specific, then you can see what else is available.
Yeah, I love that you can walk people through that. So, kind of an obvious question for you based on everything that we've been talking about, because you're so amazing, but the show is called Your Leadership Legacy. And so talk to us about, I know you're a very intentional person with big hopes and big dreams and all that good stuff. So what's the legacy, Candice, that you're leaving?
The legacy that I am leaving has been a passion of mine since I was a little kid. Such the feedback that I've gotten from friends of mine when I was a little kid is I see innate gifts and wisdom in everybody. And my intention is that every person that I come across, regardless of client, not client, person in passing at the gas station or not, my intention is that that person sees the gifts that they have inside of themselves, values them, and then teaches others how to do the same.
Beautiful. I feel like I want to do a replay, like a replay on that. Everybody rewind just to hear that again. Where can people find you, Candice?
People right now can find me on Facebook and Instagram at the Candice Johnson. That's Candice with an
The
I, by the way. The Candice Johnson. Yes. At the current time of recording, my website is under construction. So whenever this comes out, I didn't want to point people right there until we're completely finished there. So until
Super
then,
exciting.
Facebook and Instagram, the Candice Johnson.
Okay, amazing. Amazing. I want to thank you for being on the show. Not only are you a dear friend, but you are a colleague, you are a superstar, you are so powerful, compassionate, loving, bundle of joy and so much energy. Sometimes I'm exhausted and I have energy. But I just want to thank you for just everything that you do and everything that who you are and who you be, because you're amazing. And I love you so much. Thank you for being on.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. That is this episode with Candice Johnson of Your Leadership Legacy. We will see you next time. Bye. My name is Tina Paulus Krause, and I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our programs and events at trueyouteams.com. And until next time, make it an amazing day.